Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We are sincerely, we are sorry for the delayed start of this program. I'm sure that most of you already joining us live on Facebook, on YouTube would understand why. Once more, we sincerely apologize for the late start of this program. Today, our guest is someone you who needs no introduction because he's known, have been receiving messages on WhatsApp, on Facebook, everybody asking where is he and when is the program starting. And it's going to be starting in just a few minutes from now. He's a veteran journalist, a senior colleague of mine, of course, and someone who has been at the forefront of affairs since the start of the ongoing conflict in the two English-speaking regions of Cameroon, that is the Northwest and the Southwest regions, the conflict which started in 2016. Please, ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming tonight Chris Ano. He's joining us now. We are adding him in just a few seconds. Hello, Chris Ano.
Well, hello, Mimi. Good to be here with you on your platform. And congratulations for your baby.
Thank you so much for joining us. First things first, how would you want us to address you? Are you Secretary of State for Communication and IT at the IG, or you're a presenter at ABC? Because I know you're also the founder and CEO. Just tell us, how would you want us to introduce you tonight?
If you like, if you call it Secretary Chris, that is perfectly in order. Chris, I know, is perfectly in order. Any of the two is okay.
Okay.
Can you? Yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you for telling us how we are supposed to address you. I know that I would have to call you throughout this program, Secretary of State for Communication and IT at the IG, like you said. Now, we are bringing you tonight to talk about a series of issues affecting the conflict that's been going on in Southern Cameroons. You as an individual, you've made series of declarations. You recently made an outing in which you declared that your president, the president of the Ambazonian interim government, Samuel Ikome, Sako, has been impeached. You made that declaration on your platform on the ABS rather, and I want to find out from you if you can briefly tell us what happened and what are the grounds for these statements or declarations that you made.
Well, thank you. Let me set the record straight. I did not make that declaration as Secretary of State for Communications for the interim government. If I were to do that, I will do that on the official ABC that is operated and owned by the interim government. You will recall that statement was made over ABS that is owned privately by yours truly. So, but of course, I'm still part of the government and I can speak to what happened. First, the impeachment was carried out by the Restoration Council of Ambazonia that has been in place since the inception of the interim government of Ambazonia. The Restoration Council had, I think 2 weeks ago, received a motion from the people of Ambazonia, asking for an up or down vote on impeachment, of Dr. Samuel Ikome Sako, with whom I have served in the interim government for quite a while now. And the charges had to do with improprieties ranging from inability to lead to allegations of fraudulent activities and corruption. So the Restoration Council looked into the motion and they had an extraordinary meeting I think 2 days ago, in which they decided to table that motion for a vote. And so they voted and overwhelmingly decided to impeach Dr. Sako as president of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia.
Okay, Secretary Chris, I want to find out from you. Before that, there was also an announcement talking about your suspension from the IG, or your dismissal from the IG. Um, what really happened, and did that push through actually? Because I remember I got in touch with you a few weeks ago to find out what your reactions are, as per the information. What is really going on? Can we say that you are, because now you're announcing the impeachment of Samuel Ikome, Sako, and you were already suspended or dismissed from the IG. To tell us, because people are confused, what is happening here? What is the place of Chris Anu? And today you said that you are Secretary of State. Can you weigh in on that?
Definitely, I can do that. Now, one of the reasons for which the Restoration Council impeached Dr. Samuel Ikome Sako was going against the recommendations, instructions from the Restoration Council, particularly the injunction asking him not to make any changes in the interim government, not to reshuffle, not to appoint until an election was conducted in 6 months. Now, he did not do that. He decided to go ahead to appoint new cabinet members and supposedly change some. The Restoration Council said no, he went against an injunction forwarded to him about 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago. Now, if you have been following up events here at the interim government, you must have learned that I walked away from cabinet for some issues to be resolved. So my walking away from cabinet was like a protest. Let me add this, Mimi. Listen, we are a government, but we know for sure that we are not in our territory yet. The government that we operate is to send a message to the international community. These guys are serious with what they are asking for. They are asking for their own country. They have a leadership. They have a government. And so when you are in a structure and you realize you cannot effect change from within, what you do is step aside. And stepping aside does not mean you have resigned or you have abandoned it. That issue was pending before the Restoration Council, and I'm referring to my withdrawal from cabinet, was pending, still pending before the Restoration Council. And so the Restoration Council now said, why these issues are being addressed, you cannot reshuffle cabinet or appoint new cabinet members, which is why I said I'm still Secretary of Communications for as long as the Restoration Council that oversees the executive has not changed that decision. I hope that makes sense.
Very well, then. We had the impeachment, because we are still talking about the impeachment of Samuel Sako Ikome. We also had that of Sisiko Ayutape. And now we are talking about that of Sako, while we are in the middle of a serious conflict in Southern Cameroons, like I said in my introduction. Does this not show that the focus now is more on power, governance, leadership, who is at the helm of the IG, than on the legislation challenges that are affecting the people of Southern Cameroons?
No, I think you get it all wrong. You have witnessed other struggles in Africa in particular. You look at, for example, look at Eritrea, look at also, let's say, the Southern Sudans. And if you go south to Africa, you look at Namibia, you look at Mozambique and all these places. You ask yourself, for how long did they have to fight? They fought in Eritrea. Eritrea was 30 years. The Southern Sudan, it was 20-something years. And why do struggles, independent struggles in particular, have to take this long? It is because of issues like this. You know, what is going on in our struggle for self-actualization for Ambazonia is that God is filtering, using this process and these little crises along the way to filter, to sift the people who have taken places of responsibility to enrich themselves. God is shifting them. This does not affect our goal, our end game by any means. I can assure you, we will come out of it much stronger, much resolved, much determined. And let me send a message to La République du Cameroon. We are coming after them now in a stronger and in a better organized manner with a more dependable leadership.
I want us to continue to, I want us to talk about the impeachment because people want to understand. It's not just saying that you are coming for La République du Cameroon, but it's about what is also happening on the ground, what is happening to the civilian population, because they bear the brunt. They are suffering. The masses are the ones suffering on a daily basis. The population, women, children who are unable to go to school. We have business people that are also affected on a daily basis. Let us come back to this impeachment and the power tussle that has some sort of, because we've received a lot of questions from the audience prior to this program.
If I may correct you, I'm sorry.
I'm coming, Mr. Chris Anu. The struggle over power has become the center of the conflict.
No, please, you get something
battle for the
wrong.
restoration of Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia, like you've mentioned. We saw the case of Sisiko, and that time when the situation of Sisiko was happening, you were in support of the Samuel Sako Ikome government. What has changed? Why the sudden change of mind? Why have you suddenly supported the Restoration Council that you've been talking about? Because you've been citing the Restoration Council a lot. And this same thing happened to a former president of the IG who is currently behind bars, and now it's the turn of Sako. And that time you were supporting Sako against, I should say, Sisiko, who is currently behind bars. Can you tell us more? Can you tell us a little bit more? Why
Let me first of all correct a few assumptions that you make. You mentioned ground zero. I really don't think that we want to cry more than the bereaved. Number two, you talk about power tussle. This is not about power tussle. Chris Anu is not looking forward to becoming the president of Ambazonia. Chris Anu just want to see things done appropriately without these elements of improprieties. Now you talk about supporting Dr. Sako against Sisiko for both of their impeachments. Let me say this. The Restoration Council was there during Sisiko, and it is the same Restoration Council that impeached Dr. Sako. It is not a matter of who I support.
Where does the Restoration Council derive its power from?
The Restoration Council is Ambazonia's own parliament, or call it Senate, as you have Congress in the USA. The Restoration Council is a power that oversees the executive in Ambazonia. So they have been given the powers to take certain decisions to maintain the flow of leadership in that of the struggle in Amazonia.
And
So
are they
no, I did
elected?
not.
Are they
If I may
elected?
just finish this, please. If I may just
Okay.
finish it.
Yes, sure.
So I did not support Dr. Sako against Sisiko. I supported what was right. Sisiko was compromised, and I still maintain that it was compromised, and anybody can quote me anyway, because up to today that I speak here, we have not known as the interim government of Amazonia what meeting took Sisiko to Abuja, where he and others were abducted. Secondly, attempting to lead a government from behind bars, lead free people from behind bars, was wrong. There is no way I was going to support that, and I will not support it with anybody. Now, Dr. Sako was just coming on to replace Sisiko. What did he do wrong? There was nothing to hold him wrong for. So the Restoration Council said, if Sisiko cannot explain to Amazonians what meeting he had in the Abuja, but is trying to take the government and run it behind bars, free people should not be ruled from behind bars with people who do not have their own freedoms.
Yes, but that was happening at a time when the Amazonian leader at the time as well was in the enemy's camp in
Correct.
French-speaking part of Cameroon. Is that not some sort of treachery on the part of the IG that impeached Sisiko? That's the question that some observers or some individuals are also asking.
How can it be treachery when you have to understand that these changes do not take place overnight? They are given due process before they take place. In Sisiko's case, we had meetings upon meetings, even when he was behind bars. We still had meetings. We listened to him. He listened to us. But he chose to do what? To go the way he went. And we said, no, it isn't treachery. We are talking about the lives of 8 million or more people that somebody was going to take and lead from jail. We said, no, there is no treachery about it. If Chris Anu does it tomorrow, I should be sanctioned. If it means getting me out of the struggle, let it be. And if anybody else is doing so, let the same measure be passed upon that person. It is not restricted to Sisiko. Anybody who will take the struggle down the path that will risk the lives of 8 million people and those who have paid the supreme price, that person should be put aside.
Yes, I also love the fact that you quoted situations in other African countries, talked about Eritrea, talked about Sudan and South Sudan and so on. Mandela was also behind bars and negotiated for the freedom of South Africa. He was not even the leader of the ANC at the time. So who says someone who is behind bars cannot lead from jail?
No, that is a mistake, Mimi. That is a mistake. Mandela did not lead from behind bars, and neither did he negotiate majority rule for Black South Africans or for South Africa from behind bars. The ANC had a leadership. At a point in time, that leadership was also in exile. Mandela was playing the consultative role. Of course, even with Sisiko in jail, if he had not been impeached, let me say something to you that, and to the fans out there that they do not know. This is what we said to Sisiko before he was impeached. We said, Sisiko, listen, you are not with us right now. We would want you to remain where you are. We will not only fight for you and others who are in there with you, but we would want you to remain the face of this struggle. And which is why Even when he was in jail, we did not have a president. We had an acting president. And the idea was any moment, anytime Sisiko is out of there, Sisiko would still be leader. But for a moment that he doesn't have his freedom, we will still make him the face of this struggle, and consultations will be made to him and the rest of them in there on a regular basis. For instance, if La République du Cameroon had come to the table and said, let us negotiate, we will not rush ahead negotiating without consulting people like Sisiko, whom we still considered then the leaders. So no, he was not abandoned, he was not treachery, and he could not negotiate for free people unilaterally from jail.
Yes, just to mention that we talked about Nelson Mandela earlier. He met with Peter Botha while he was still in prison. That is a fact that you agree, right, Chris Anu? And the leadership was in exile at the time, and they trusted him. It was only when he left jail that he came to London and met with Oliver Tambo, who was also an ANC leader. That is what happened at the time when it comes to Nelson Mandela and the struggle in South Africa.
You are again making a mistake. You are making a mistake. The ANC negotiated the terms of Mandela's release, consulted with him, he confirmed it, and then the international, once he confirmed it with the ANC communicated to the international community. The international community consulted with Mandela personally to confirm that arrangement. But of course, it would appear to everybody who doesn't really understand what transpired as if Mandela negotiated his own freedom and majority rule in South Africa. No, of course, he confirmed. He was consulted by the ANC, the people in exile. They were doing the talking, the consultations with the international community. Mandela only affirmed that he was on the same side with his party, the ANC.
Very, very well then, Chris Arnold. Moving on, because we have a lot of things to talk about tonight. I also wanted to find out from you about can you tell us where you think the struggle is at the moment, given that it appears the government of Cameroon is not budging and the people are still suffering tremendously on a daily basis? Because earlier I talked about several children who are not going to school. I talked about the civilian population that has continued to suffer. I've talked about ghost towns on we keep seeing ghost towns on Mondays, and sometimes ghost towns are imposed because there are certain events that are coming up in the northwest and the southwest regions of Cameroon. So tell us, where do you think the struggle is heading at the moment?
Yeah, you talked about the government of La République du Cameroon not budging, but I would say that is not a very factual statement. You will recall this war has been going on now, declared since November 30th, 2017. And the reason we are where we are now today is because La République du Cameroon officials, they keep pretending there are no issues. I mean, they kept pretending there are no issues, there are no problems. They call it Anglophone problem. Anglophone problem, they said, is a problem, is a Cameroon problem. But you will see they have continued to make one move to the other in efforts to pacify and bring the struggle to an end. You will recall the so-called Grand National Dialogue that was mere window dressing and produced nothing. You have seen them now tilting towards some so-called federalism, which is again, to me, complete window dressing. La République du Cameroon has totally denied there is a Southern Cameroon's colonization problem, which is what is at the root cause of the struggle for Ambazonia. So, no, it is not that they are not budging. I think they have, because I think right now, French Cameroon officials, they do regret that when the consortium came up talking a return to 1961 federal structure, they rejected it. They are regretting when Honorable Weber stood in that parliament and told them about the 2 cubes of sugar that they referred us to. He told them the 2 cubes of sugar would refuse to dissolve. And 5 years after, those 2 cubes of sugar have refused to dissolve. Now, are they doing nothing? Of course, they are very worried. They are very worried. They thought they will crush us. We were told that in 2 weeks, Ambazonia will be crushed. But guess who has been crushing who? Ambazonia untrained soldiers have crossed thousands, and not only thousands, but some of the best in La République du Cameroon's army. Ambazonia forces have crushed them. Guess what they started fighting with? They started fighting with Rubai guns, then went to Dane guns, went to AKs, went to little fancies. So let me just make the point. So this is the point. La République du Cameroon, they are not budging. Yes, they may not be budging, but it is out of frustration. But let me tell you, and let me tell them listening to me, they will have no choice. We have gone too far to think that we can turn back. Radio France International.
They have not acknowledged the Swiss-led process. So what is the evidence that
have there been a letter from them that says they are not acknowledging the Swiss process? Any letter you read from them that says so?
But there's nothing is happening, Chris Anu.
Well, it is a different thing to say.
The Swiss-led process was announced more than about 2 years ago, and up to now, no negotiation is taking place. We've not seen any meeting, any concrete meeting between members of the Ambazonian movement, the government of Cameroon, and those who are organizing, who are supposed to be part of the mediation process. So where are we at the moment? Maybe you have some information.
I think that's a better question to say. I think that's a better question to say, where are we, than to say that the Swiss process is not working, because you are a journalist, meaning you are a reporter. You can use your expertise, your career, to reach out to the Swiss to say, hey, this process you initiated has been on now for over 2 years, going to 3 years. What is going on? Is Cameroon cooperating? I think that is the only moment you can say categorically that Cameroon is on the table.
Chris Anu, I have done that. That's why I'm asking you.
Okay.
That's why I'm asking you that if they were under any pressure, why would they not openly? Because negotiation, dialogue is what everybody wants. You have been interviewing diplomats, top-ranking officials in and out of Cameroon who've voiced their concerns, asking for dialogue in this conflict. If they wanted dialogue, why should they be doing that behind closed doors? Why wouldn't they do that in the open and tell the world that we are ready for the Swiss-led dialogue? Why should it be done behind closed doors?
Maybe if it took Southern Sudan with a pinch of the level of resources that Ambazonia has, to take over, to be freed from this, from Sudan, taking food out of the jaws of French Cameroon in Ambazonia. You think they want to go, they want to leave that and go very easily? Don't forget, CDC is in Ambazonia. Pamo is in Ambazonia. Sonora is in Ambazonia. Supermon is in Ambazonia. Cocoa is in Ambazonia. Timber is in Ambazonia. What would you name in French Cameroon against this? This is where the money, the food that fits that country is coming from? Why do you think that Cameroon will rush to the table and say, let's negotiate so you can go? They are not going to rush, and that is why we will kill them in our fields, in the northern zone and southern zone. If they think that we are joking, we will kill them one after the other if they think that is the only way to get out of this war.
So many people claim that the conflict is now a source of money making, especially for members of the Cameroonian government. I also had an interview with one of the members of Bia's government, who is also a big week of the CPDM political party, that is the ruling party in Cameroon, that is Evis Ngolengole. Don't you think that they are just playing along so as to continue with the money being made from the war? Because he was bold enough to say that there are so many people in Cameroon, in the French-speaking part of Cameroon, and also in the northwest and southwest regions, including officials who are making a lot of money from the conflict.
Well, that is something that I cannot establish. I do not know for any reason why they prolong the war. But what I know is that you want to take a bone from the jaws of a dog. Dogs love bones, and you will have to fight. You will really have to fight to get the bone off the mouth of the dog. It is the same case in the Southern Cameroons, I believe. La République du Cameroon doesn't want to surrender because they know what is at stake. They will remain miserable, poor. The poorest country, I believe, will become. They will become the poorest country in Africa. I think that is the main reason. Yes, some of them may be making money out of it. That is true. But I think their main problem is they are looking at what they're going to lose should they surrender.
Okay, so could it be that you are also being played because they know that it's your people, our people, the people of Southern Cameroon, so are paying the biggest price?
Well, they say that when two elephants fight, the grass suffers, right? The Southern Cameroons went into this war with nothing. In fact, we were not anticipating war. We were not ready. We were not trained. Some of us doing what we are doing today, we were not trained to do it. Talking about Sako and Dr. Sako, none of them were trained to lead a government that of a sudden, none. So I will say that the good thing is that the overwhelming majority of Amazonians have come to embrace this effort. If you know the messages, the phone calls that some of us receive on a very regular basis from ground zero, they say to us, Secretary Chris, you guys cannot let this down. Secretary Chris, we are suffering. Our children cannot go to school. Our traders cannot go to the shops regularly as they used to do. The ghost towns are a problem. But they said we should not surrender. Everything has a price that has to be paid for, and ground zero is paying it. They are not ready to give up.
Do you have evidence to confirm that the population is still supporting you?
Oh, I believe you do watch me at times, and you listen to the phone calls. Sometimes I just sit behind the cameras, take phone calls for like 30 minutes, 40 minutes, just so I can hear from as many people as possible to know, sample their opinion. If you were doing a poll and the first 10 people call you, and out of the 10, 7 of them are saying the same thing. That is the way polls are weighed. You can tell that if 10 called and 7 said the same thing, that is the leaning of the majority. So That is what we receive. Those are the kind of
10,
messages
10
that
calls,
we
10, 10
receive.
calls, 10 calls, Chris Anu. That's just a few among
No, I'm
millions
giving
of
you
people.
an example. I just told you
Okay,
that I will
okay,
sit. I just said that I will
okay,
sit on the camera and take phone calls for like 40 minutes, even close
okay,
to 1 hour. I was just giving you an example.
okay, okay. So, moving on to other preoccupations, we have classes that are not also ongoing in some parts of Southern Cameroons. We have people, businesses that have crumbled. So many business persons have had to migrate from the northwest, southwest to French-speaking parts of Cameroon. We see a lot of refugees as well in neighboring Nigeria, children stranded, unable to go to school, and they are being aided sometimes by charity organizations and so on and so forth. Tell us, when you see all of this happening, how do you feel?
It is very
The
painful.
frontiers.
It is very
How do you
painful, and it is very painful. And I will speak as someone uh, whose family is bearing the pain. I don't have a family home anymore in Libya. My mother, 80 years old, was locked up for about, I think, 4 or 6 months. My sister was in there for over a year. My brother is in the bush fighting from day number one. I know their pain. I feel their pain. I feel the pain of Amazonians living in refugee camps. But listen, they didn't go out on their own. They were chased out by a regime that has no conscience. They have their brothers, they are having killed, their homes burnt down. But the good thing is that in spite of all of this, if you go and sample the opinion of those refugees, they will tell you they want their own country. They want a free and independent Southern Cameroons. If they didn't, I bet you they would have returned to that damn country. Look, imagine somebody living in Calabar, migrating there from a Cork or Mamfe Manu. They would have gone back home to say, let this thing be over. And you know the efforts that French Cameroon officials have made to get them home. You saw the Ikome success being carried to Yaoundé, some PRO to get other refugees coming back home. Yet nobody went back home. So, yes, it is painful. I have been a refugee myself out of that damn country. Those refugees, you ask them what do they want. They will not tell you they want peace. They will tell you they want a free, independent Southern Cameroons. And I believe majority of them will only go back there when they get that independence.
So many are still back home, trapped in the conflict. Like you said, that when two elephants are fighting, the grass is suffering. Um, some of these children would want to go to school. We've seen Human Rights Watch talked about how children are being attacked on their way to school. We see attacks on a daily basis in the northwest and the southwest regions of Cameroon from both sides, the government and the state and the non-state actors. Can you, Chris Anu, as one of the leaders of the struggle as well, make a declaration today that schools can unequivocally resume in the two English-speaking regions of the country?
No, I cannot make that statement. We at the interim government have said again and again, as far as school resumption in Amazonia is concerned, it will be the choice of the parents to decide, depending on the level of security and safety in every community. I give you a very good example here. In Libya, you will recall that French Cameroon has withdrawn all of their teachers away from Libya. Secondary schools, high schools, they don't have teachers there anymore. I think the same thing with primary schools. Now, why are they withdrawing them? Because at the appearance of their military in Libya, families left. You go to Menji, the only thing you find in Menji is the military. Nothing there. Now, how can you say people should go to school where there is nobody? Of course,
But
it's not possible.
we are seeing students being stripped naked, Chris Anu. We've seen that
Where?
in some parts of the
Who do you
southwest
attribute
region
that to? To
of
Ambazonia fighters?
and you are asking for security from the government of Cameroon. As a
Co-
government in your own right, what measures have you also put in place when we are seeing students also being attacked by some separatist fighters as well?
Well, if you can quote certain instances where separatist fighters, as you call them, have
I've
stripped
talked about
people
students
naked,
being
that would be great. I
stripped,
have not
being
had
stripped
that
naked.
situation reported to us. We have been very proactive in telling our fighters, listen, you
But
cannot
Chris
go
Anu,
after, yes?
yeah, but Chris Anu, we have cases of young students because some of them are watching. They are in the affected regions, they are in the conflicted regions, and they are watching. They can see you, they can listen to you. Most of them could be the victims. Some of them could even be your younger sisters. They are your citizens. Some of them are being attacked, and we are seeing it happening. And you are saying that you're asking for security for military officials from La République of the Cameroon, like you say. But what measures are also being put in place to protect these students on your part? Because you say that you cannot guarantee, you cannot say that children should go to school. It depends on the parents.
Mimi,
But the attacks are coming from both sides.
yeah, listen. You are very much aware that the only thing we have on the ground, we have our Ambazonia Restoration Forces. Their duty first is to defend our territorial integrity. Security. Cameroon wants the world to know they are in control of security. And that is why they had their AFCON in Victoria to tell the world there is security. Now, if you are telling me that Ambazonia government should do something, children are being killed by separatists, what would you tell me about the killings in the San Francisco school in Kumba? What would you say about
Of
those?
course,
Of
security
course,
officials have committed atrocities. Yes, they
that
have
wasn't the
committed
separatists
atrocities.
doing that.
Of course, they have committed atrocities. But questions I should put to the Minister of Communication in Cameroon, to the President of the Republic, President Pobia, I cannot put them to you, Chris Anu. That's why I am asking you.
But what I'm trying to tell you is you cannot shift the responsibility for those killings to Ambazonia Restoration Force unless you have
The
particular
responsibilities are
cases
shared.
you are pointing to. You have
There
particular
are going to be
cases.
so
You have
many
particular
cases,
cases you want to
and the
point to.
responsibilities are shared. There are so many cases, and the responsibilities are on both
Give me a
sides.
few of them.
There are
Name a few
students
of them.
being students being stripped naked. There was an
Where?
attack in Ekondo Titi, stripped naked in the southwest region, Chris Anu, at a school
Who
in the
controls
southwest
Ekondo
region with
Titi?
two
Who controls Ekondo Titi? The government of Cameroon or Ambazonia forces? I think you are frozen. Mimi, I think you are frozen.
I think we are back again. Sorry for that interruption. I was
All
saying
right.
that we have series of cases. Atrocities are committed on both sides. Government soldiers, they shoot at children, school-going kids. We've seen instances. We've seen separatists also committing atrocities. So that's why I'm asking for security guarantees on your part.
I cannot make any security guarantees because, as I said, we are not controlling any territory yet in Ambazonia. French Cameroon says they have a handle over the territory. You should ask for security from their government officials.
Okay, you are not in control yet of any territory in Amazonia. So tell me, the last time we had a massive, this is a question we got from one of our followers. The last time we had a massive outing of people was in September 2017, just before the conflict morphed into an armed conflict like what we are seeing today. Can you tell me today if the people, the population is still in support of the struggle, or they are just doing this? Everything they are doing is because they just need it for survival. They are doing this under duress. They are doing everything under duress.
Mimi, again, you are a reporter and you know that ghost towns are still taking place every Monday all over Amazonia with a few exceptions. Now, you will recall nobody is going to those people and telling them you must stay home. You must, nobody, you know that, nobody. Initially, when we started, we tried to enforce it. But the people have become used to it. They love it. They stay home because they support the cause. So, yes, the support is still tremendous, still tremendous. And I believe you see it in the advocacy in the social media too. You are a social media person. I'm sure you see that.
Chris
The
Anu,
support
Chris
is
Anu,
there.
Chris Anu, I've been on the ground. I've reported this conflict firsthand. I've seen the conflict firsthand. I've been on the ground. I've gone face to face with the population. I know what is happening. And up to now, I've continued to report about the conflict. It's not on social media. I should be talking about you, reporting it on the social media, because I've been on the ground on several occasions. So if there's somebody who should be telling the other person that he or she is reporting on the social media, I should be telling you that, but I didn't tell you that.
So give me your take on what you report from the ground.
So many things, Chris Anu. I will send the
Give
link to you
me
after
give me
this
a
session.
few, please.
So many things. I will send the links to you if that's what you want
No, no.
after this session.
What I mean to know is
Send it.
whether per your reporting, people are giving up, are surrendering. The overwhelming majority is surrendering. Is that what you gather in your reporting?
In our no, I just asked a question that was asked from the audience about support. Do you feel
Yes.
like people are doing respecting ghost town out of duress because they are scared that if they don't close their businesses, they would be attacked, or maybe their businesses, their shops could be burnt? Or you feel that it is their conviction as Southern Cameroonians that we have to sit at home and respect this particular day? That is the question. It has
Eh,
nothing to do
eh,
with, yeah, it has nothing to do
again,
with anybody being
people
on the. Yes, go ahead.
Again, people are doing this out of conviction, out of their love to see their own free and independent country realized. Now, nobody runs the streets of Bamenda, of Kumba, of Banso, Boya on Mondays with guns, forcing people to stay home, isn't it? Of course not. It is conviction for what they want, that
Chris
to
Anu,
stay
we
home.
saw few Masha, no pity. They went to Oku and burnt markets and attacked the people for not respecting ghost towns.
You have the images?
So their images are everywhere. The images are there. I have journalists who are also working on the ground. The images are there, Chris Anu. The facts are
Well,
out there.
Mimi, it is easy to sit here and say the win and the burn downs without telling us precisely when, without evidence as to when that actually happened. And
So
let
you
me
are
add
simply
this.
telling me to
Let, let,
question
let me
you.
add this, please.
When
Let
you
me add
come up
this.
with facts, I should
Amazonia
question you as
forces,
well.
no, please let me add this for a second. Amazonia forces do not burn down towns, do not burn down markets. You know, and you have reported on this, that the over 400 villages and towns burned down in Amazonia, they have been burnt down by French Cameroon
Very
terrorist
true, Chris
soldiers.
Anu. But Chris Anu, very, very true. But we've had instances where separatist fighters have also burned down markets, burned down structures, burnt down, and even claimed responsibility for their actions. Of
Well,
course,
I have been their communication secretary for all this while. I have not received any such report of Ambazonia forces burning down homes and markets.
any
No,
structure,
none that I
market,
know.
nowhere in the.
If you had some evidence to present here, it will make a better case. But it is easy to sit here and make such statements without presenting the fact. I can sit here and tell you that Mr. Bier is in France. Does it make it correct?
Okay, so you are simply saying that some of the responsibilities, when they come out and they say we actually did this because this person is possibly a black leg, or this person didn't respect the ghost town, or this person didn't respect the rules that were put in place, they are also lying. That's what Chris Ano is telling me tonight. I
I
didn't know
will
that.
not.
Very well
What I'm telling you is that I will not sit here and vouch for information you are passing here without evidence for it.
Yeah, I'm just confirming with you that instances of the home raids, the burning of houses, any markets in the northwest, southwest regions of Cameroon, they are all lies. They are not true. That's what Chris Ano is telling us tonight. I didn't know that.
Correct. Correct. Not by Ambazonia Restoration Forces. They record Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International, and the rest. They all know that the over 400 settlements burnt down in
We have UN
Ambazonia have
reports. We
been
have
burnt
human rights.
down by
We have UN
French
reports.
Cameroon soldiers.
Yeah, we have UN reports confirming that, like you said. We also have UN human rights reports confirming that separatist fighters are also committing atrocities and burning homes and markets and burning structures.
And we need to see
So,
those reports to believe it.
December 16, 2021, we had a report as well from Human Rights Watch saying that people, it is titled, "They are destroying our future." If you go to that link, if you go online and you type "They are destroying our future," a Human Rights Watch report, you are going to see the details of everything and testimonies from the victims, from some of the victims, Chris Anu.
From
And
where in Amazonia? Victims
the
from
link,
where in Amazonia?
of course, the link is there. They are
No,
destroying our
victims from where? If you're
in
quoting a
southern
report, you should be
Cameroon.
able to quote where the
Yes,
victims
in
are coming
southern
from.
Cameroons. In southern Cameroons, when you read some of these reports, maybe we can meet again.
Maybe you are painting a broad brush. You are a reporter and you should be able to come up with specifics to say, hey, in Bui, on this date, on that date, this family, that
December
family.
16th,
I will take the report.
I mentioned a
If we
date
do
at
this,
least.
I
I
take it.
mentioned a date. I mentioned a date. December 16, 2021. A human
Where?
rights watch report is saying that armed forces attacked schools, teachers in southern Cameroons.
You mean which
In
armed
southern
forces?
Cameroon.
Amazonia or La République du Cameroon?
Separatist fighters attacked students, teachers, and homes in southern Cameroon, December 16th.
Where in southern Cameroon? It's not enough to say an accident took place in Yaoundé or in La République du Cameroon. Where?
In several parts of southern Cameroon, schools and teachers were attacked.
But you are
That's
painting
human
a
rights
broad brush again. When you are laying a case, you make
No, but
specifics.
you are saying categorically, Chris Anu, that separatists have not attacked any schools, they have not attacked markets, they have not attacked homes. That's what you are
Not
saying.
any that I can
If
sit
you are
here
asking, if you're
and bear
asking for
witness
evidence
to.
now, if you are asking for evidence now, it's something else. It's something
Not
else.
that which I can sit here and bear witness to.
Yes, it's something else. It's something
But
else.
for La République du Cameroon, you can count. For La République du Cameroon, you can count Ngarebo. You know Ngarebo. You can
Yes, of
count
course.
Bali. You
Ngarebo,
can
we
count
have
Pinyin.
Fiji, we
You
have
can count Mabutu, Kwakwa, Ekona, and so on. You know this. I needed you to say, hey, in Bui, in Ngoketuja, in Bali, so and so there. This incident, you can I can look at the Bali church incident, for example. Who did that? French Cameroon. These are incidences that can easily be pointed out. Everybody knows about it. Give me one clear example of Ambazonia forces burning down towns or villages and apprehending school children. in Amazonia.
Attacking school children in Ekondo Titi, southwest region of Cameroon, for instance.
Again, La Republic of Cameroon controls Ekondo Titi, not Ambazonia forces.
But separatist fighters were responsible for that, Chris Anu.
How do you prove that? You have some videos or pictures?
Atrocities are committed on both sides. We agree.
No. Maybe I'm sorry. We don't agree. We don't agree that atrocities are committed on both sides. That is your statement. That is your statement, not my own. I do not agree to that statement. You have to be able to define what atrocities are. If you are talking about stopping people, searching them, that is not an atrocity, and that is what Ambazonia forces do. Atrocities, you are talking about killings, murder.
Atrocities are committed on both sides, in the northwest and in the southwest regions of Cameroon. I say it, and I say it very clearly.
You have the right to believe in what you think, but again, it is not a fact. I think you are frozen again.
Okay, I think we are back again. I think we are back again. Chris Anu, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Human Rights Watch reports are vivid proofs of what is happening on the ground. We have UN reports of schools being at in the two Anglophone regions of Cameroon. We have Ekondo Titi. We have women being attacked as well, frequently, by separatist fighters. If you say these are not facts, I actually question how much knowledge you have of what is happening in the two English-speaking regions of Cameroon. And we leave it at that, Chris Anu. If that's what you say, that separatist fighters are not responsible for any atrocity in the northwest and the southwest regions of Cameroon, when we have reports, when we have cases on a daily basis, we see women being attacked, we have videos, we have pictures, we have evidence on a daily basis, then I doubt how much you know of what's happening in the northwest and the southwest regions of Cameroon. Of course, soldiers are also committing atrocities, a lot of atrocities.
This is my
shooting on a daily basis as well, but separatists are also committing atrocities, and that's what I'm talking about.
Mimi, I hear you, but you cannot force what you believe in, what is your opinion on others. You are a reporter, and you want to make a case, present clear evidence that separatist fighters, as you call them, are doing what you are doing. If I were doing this interview with you, I bet you I will look for some footage to make my point. You can't sit here talking about separatist fighters are responsible for things that you cannot prove.
We talked about a couple of things, and you've also clarified a lot of things. I didn't ask for footage.
But I needed, at least, if you want to present this kind of opinion, get some evidence so that people can see.
This is a discussion between you and I, and we have.
Well, you want facts from me, and I will be quoted about this tomorrow.
To clarify public's opinion, to clarify for people to understand what's happening on the ground, for people to understand, it's very, very important. But if you say that, no, I'm not saying I'm correct, but we have videos, we have pictures, we have separatist fighters claiming responsibility for some of the
if you have pictures, videos, and you present it and I see it, I can say yes or no. But without you presenting any proof, I can't sit here and say yes, separatist fighters are carrying out massacres.
I take it that Chris Anu has never seen any picture, any video, knows nothing about some of the atrocities committed by separatists. We know about atrocities committed by soldiers. Soldiers have burnt villages, they've burnt schools, They've shot children going to school. They have also attacked women. They have attacked villages. They've stopped children from going to school as well. They are committing atrocities on a daily basis. Separatist fighters as well have been committing atrocities. But if you say that you need proofs and you don't know about it, I take it from you that you say that you are not aware of that. And then we move on. Because people have a
Mimi,
lot of questions.
you come across as doing some PR for La République du Cameroon. Again, I'm not going to sit here
La
and
République du Cameroon
confirm
says
information
that
that
I am
you
a
yourself
propaganda
cannot
tool for
prove.
Amazonia. La République du Cameroon says that I am a propaganda tool for Amazonia. So if we are here to talk about that, Chris Anu, this debate is not ending. You know my take.
I don't know. You know your column. You know your column.
I am now informing you. I am now informing you that La République du Cameroon says I am a propaganda tool for Amazonia and for terrorists. That's how
You have never done one good story for Amazonia that I know. So I don't know why they will say that.
You have no proofs. Go to mefoinfo.com and you read some of our articles. We have the best reporters in Cameroon and out of the country.
Well, let's agree you have some of the best, but not the best for Amazonia.
You are talking about what you don't know, Chris Anna. So let's not talk about that.
Okay.
So let's now move on to something else, looking at the situation on the ground. What do you think, Chris Anu, is the way forward?
We don't have a way forward. The only way forward is a free and independent Amazonia. If it means 30 years, if it means 15 years, that is the only agenda we have. One agenda, a free and independent Southern Cameroons.
A free and independent Southern Cameroons.
Correct.
So
correct. And we hope that La République du Cameroon will avoid many more casualties, act responsibly, get to the negotiation table, because if they think that we are tired, if they think that we are divided, if they think that we are in crisis, these are crises of growth. It is only making us better and better organized, better leadership, and we will prosecute this war, as they say, until the last man standing. We will live free or die, and not die as citizens of La République du Cameroon, but citizens of a free Amazonia.
We have so many people also following us live on Facebook. If you have any question for Chris Anu, this is the time to send them through, because he's also here to respond to some of your questions. We have people talking about Mimi La République or Amazonian. Mimi is a journalist, doesn't work for Amazonians, doesn't work for La République of Cameroon. I stand for what is true, and I remain a journalist. I'm also interviewing today a seasoned journalist, Chris Anu, who happens to be one of the forefront. He happens to be at the forefront of affairs since the start of the conflict in the two English-speaking regions of Cameroon. He's been reporting a lot, talking a lot about the conflict. We've also come here to clarify public's opinion about the impeachment of Samuel Ikome Sako. We would probably have time to also get to talk to him or members of his camp. We've reached out to them and we'll be waiting to see if they have time to talk to us. Like I said, if you have any question, please send them through, and he would respond to them before the program ends tonight. Chris Anu, as we move forward, I want to find out from you. Yesterday, the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon were booted out. I know this is something that you might not want. You feel free if you want. If you don't want to talk about it, you are free to tell us that you are not interested. But the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon were booted out of the AFCON games that they have been organizing. We know Amazonians were saying, or Southern Cameroonians were saying from the very beginning that this is not going to take place in the northwest, southwest regions of Cameroon. Tell us what has been, what are your thoughts? How do you feel about the competition so far, seeing that some of the matches also took place in the southwest region of Cameroon?
Well, as you rightly put it, in Cameroon, not in Ambazonia, we really developed no interest, no love at all for what was going on in a foreign country. We did not invite them to Ambazonia. The matches taking place in the Victoria, they were done clandestinely, clandestinely. And as I said before, had we had the military force that La République du Cameroon deployed inside Victoria, we should have kicked out AFCON. We should have kicked out AFCON because they came uninvited to our territory. So no, we took no pleasure in those matches, in the entire tournament, because we just do not understand this level of insensitivity on the part of CAF officials and AFCON officials, that they will take a football tournament of this caliber to a country that doesn't want them, and a country in which war is taking place. So from day number one, we had made it very clear we are not entertaining it. But unfortunately, I will say on our part, those matches took place in Victoria. Whatever the case, that isn't stopping us from continuing to prosecute this war to the logical end.
And I'm seeing a question here from Mojoko. He says that why did Chris, in complicity with Sako, order the killing of 39 of our brothers in Bui in the Northwest region? That's the question. Would you want to respond to that, or we should move on?
There is an opinion. I can't delve into opinions. I won't convince them by any means.
Also, we have Celestine Baraje who says that, can you tell us if Sisiko Ayuktabe was compromised by La République and whether you have proofs?
Yes, he was compromised. Again, the proof is starting from Nigeria. What was the meeting in Nigeria from which he was abducted about? I was his cabinet member from day number one. And you don't hold such a meeting, and your cabinet members and people are traveling from all parts of Africa and across all the way from USA to such a meeting, and your cabinet members, your communication secretary in that matter, isn't aware until we know what transpired there. Listen, I will not withdraw that word compromise. I can hear you. You are muted. You are muted. I can't hear you. You are muted.
Yes,
okay,
now
you are muted.
Sorry about that. Yes, you were talking about Sisiko. I just wanted to find out why you were not in Nigeria when you were part of his cabinet. That has been a lingering question that has gone unanswered for years now.
Yeah, I mean, you could understand from my last answer. How do you imagine that the president organizes such a meeting in Nigeria, and his spokesperson, his communication secretary, isn't aware of the meeting? So I think that's a question that Sisiko will be better placed to answer. I don't know why I wasn't aware. I don't know why I wasn't there, but probably the grace of God, because maybe I would be in the gulags in La République du Cameroon now if I were there in that meeting.
So does it mean, Chris, I know that he didn't trust you? Because if there's an important meeting of that nature and you are not part of it, how can we explain that when you are his communication secretary?
I don't think it's a matter of trust. Again, they have been out of Nigeria now for years now, right? And we still don't know. Nobody still knows what that meeting was about. So I guess it's a secret known only by some, a few. You will not imagine that even those people like Tasang Wilfred, who went to that meeting, had no idea what the agenda was about, what the meeting was about, up to today. So again, it is difficult to explain.
And we have Ngo who says that for 5 years you are not united. Isn't isn't that what you wanted for the country before, or isn't that what you have? We cannot really understand what Ngo is trying to say, but he's just questioning why for about 5 years now the Ambazonian leadership is not still united. Would you want to respond to that question?
Well, it depends what he means by unity or united. The interim government of Ambazonia has been very, very focused and united with the same goal, the same mission, doing the same thing, building the army on the ground. It is just going on and on and on. Listen, let me be very pragmatic here. You will not have one movement fighting for the freedom of Ambazonia. And if should somebody tell you that different factions are a bad idea, no. Different factions, for as long as the goal is the same, isn't a bad idea. So you have not seen any struggle where everybody came under the same umbrella. That hasn't happened. But we can collaborate. We can do things together, and which is what you have in the ARC, Ambazonia Coalition Team. About 9 different groups in that platform doing things interchangeably. That is unity. Unity is not everybody coming under the same umbrella. It is the ability to collaborate, sit down and talk and agree on the direction. I think you are frozen.
Hear me?
Yeah, I think you were
Can you hear
frozen.
me?
I can hear
Yes,
you.
yes, yes. I was just I wanted to ask about unity within the Ambazonian leadership. Do you think it's something that is possible?
Oh yes, and I would
General
like to.
unity within,
Yes, I
yeah.
will. I would like to elaborate a little bit on that. Unity is achievable, and I bet you, after all these crises in the interim government are said and done, uh, you will see a new Ambazonia movement where there is unity, there is collaboration, there is reconciliation, if I may add that. But again, we should not forget, this doesn't mean everybody coming under the same umbrella. No, we can work together. For example, think about Maurice of Tumfon Herbert. If Maurice, for example, had fighters up in the, let's say in Bambui, and there is a mission to be taken to be carried out there, we should not have to send forces up to Bambui. We just say to Ntumfo and Boebet, hey, can your boys take care of this mission? Let's put the funds together. Let your boys take care of this mission. That is collaboration. That is unity. So yes, I see it happening, and it's going to happen really soon.
And finally, I've received a lot of questions on this particular issue, the money
Okay.
for my trip to Boya. Before we go, many people would want.
You were frozen, so I didn't get your question to the end.
Yes, we have received a lot of questions from the audience. Many people would want to know what happened to the my trip to Boya funds.
Well, there is nothing new to report about my trip to Boya Farms. I reported what we found out. Now, many of you out there will recall that, but for me, there wouldn't have been an audit of my trip to Boya. An audit was carried out, and the auditors put out their report as per how the funds derived from my trip to Boya were used. There isn't any new information that I can talk about. If you want to hear me say that not much was achieved with my trip to Boya, I will confirm that. I will confirm that. And that is not the only case. We have to understand that we are in an unconventional warfare. We are not yet a recognized country. And so procurement can be very, very, very difficult. And so in the course of doing that, we've come across a lot of difficulties, and some of the monies sidelined for this procurement just get lost like that. I'm sure that many of you have heard the recent case where some people are talking about $135,000 and stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, please, nothing like that exists or existed. But the fact is that in the kind of operations, covert operations we carry out to prosecute this war, there is a lot of risk, a lot of risk. And when there is genuine risk, we have nothing, nobody should be blamed when there is genuine risk. But when there is fraud, when there is embezzlement, when there is mismanagement, ladies and gentlemen, that is what I consider very, very seriously. And I wish people who engage in embezzlement, fraud, and corruption, they should not have a place in the leadership.
That's one of the things that in your live broadcast you're accusing Samuel Ikome of doing, embezzling some of the funds.
That is very correct. Again, I am going by the report. I was going by the report presented by the Restoration Council, and they have their proofs. It is not left to me to prove it, but the Restoration Council, I believe, they have the proofs, and they put the proofs out yesterday. It is incumbent upon Dr. Samuel Ikome Sako to come out and say, you lied. You are not correct. It is not true. But one thing I know, Mefo, is the CDC deal. Dr. Samuel Ikome Sako cannot say it did not exist because I took it to him. I'm going to end it there.
Thank you so much, Chris Anu. I don't know if you have any final words because we've been on here for over an hour already. We have so many questions coming in. You might want to look at them later and see if you would want to respond as well. But we appreciate all those who are sending their questions, those who want their worries answered by Chris Anu. But because of time constraints, he will not be able to respond to all of your questions. Possibly would have him some other time. Chris Anu, any final words before we go?
Thank you, Mimi, for having me on your platform. I would just, I read some of the comments out there. I see lots of Republic of Cameroon agents invading your platform and putting out some innuendos out there. But I speak to Amazonians who want their own country. Listen, these crises are crises of growth. We have no other dream, we have no other vision, but the dream and vision for a free and independent Amazonia. Listen, let me speak to ground zero, especially our fighters out there on ground zero. None of you should be shaken. None of you should be shaken. We've lost thousands of our people, thousands of homes. And as Mimi said, thousands of refugees. How can we even think, ladies and gentlemen, how can we even think of giving up and surrendering to a country that has made us slaves for over 60 years. No, there is no thought about surrendering. We will prosecute this war until the last man standing. Freedom, independence is our goal, and it is what drives us. For La République du Cameroon, we want you to know, sirs, that this is a battle for freedom. Nothing sweeter than freedom. How can you find freedom and surrender? We are not surrendering. We will keep on coming after you. Thank you.
And one final thing, I want to
All right.
talk on behalf of women in the northwest and the southwest regions of Cameroon who've been through so much already. I spoke to some of them. One declared, I can't wait for this conflict to end. I can't wait for peace to return. I can't wait to have my life back, my family back intact. What message do you have for women in the northwest and the southwest regions of Cameroon before we go?
I can tell you we feel the pain of every mother, every woman out there, especially on ground zero. Again, you will recall that my own mother, 80 years old, served J term, not J term, detention for 6 months. 6 months. Who wants to see his or her mother at 80 being put behind bars and tortured at that age? Nobody, nobody. We feel for every woman out there on ground zero. Unfortunately, we didn't call this upon us, and we cannot end it. If I were a woman on ground zero, I will be carrying out a protest on a weekly basis in front of the governor's mansion, in front of those colonial DOs, and telling them, tell your President Paul Biya to shut down, to end this war, to call for a ceasefire. No, unfortunately, we cannot call it. We did not start it. Cameroon can end this war tomorrow, and these our mothers will go about their normal life. So my appeal to them is, if they can organize themselves and carry out these protest marches on a weekly basis, telling La République du Cameroon the number of their children being killed for nothing, I think Cameroon will end this war and call for a ceasefire. That's the only appeal that I can make to them.
Thank you so much, Chris Ano, for joining us tonight. It was our greatest pleasure having you with us. You've touched on a lot of topics, and just to clarify that it was strictly professional, nothing personal, and I'm glad that you were able to respond to some of our questions. We can never talk about all the things that are happening in the northwest and the southwest regions of Cameroon. The reason why I kept saying that you might be coming back again to discuss about other pertinent issues. Thank you once again, Chris Ano, for joining us tonight.
All right. Thank you, Mimi. It was a pleasure being with you.
We'll be seeing you certainly some other time again. And before we go, I'm also seeing so many people are responding and saying, asking Mimi Mefo, where do you belong? Is it La République of Cameroon, or is it Ambazonia? Just to make it clear that Mimi Mefo Info is a news platform that is covering not just the conflict in the northwest and the southwest regions of Cameroon. We are also covering other happenings, like we saw our reporters were covering the African Cup of Nations. We have a lot of things that are also going on, politics, the economy. We also talk about news happening out of our national borders across the African continent. So we remain a news platform. We remain professional. And when our motives would change, something that I know would never happen because I remain a journalist, we remain journalists, we would make that public. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Until we meet again, goodbye.